of U.S. Floors,
Dee
Dee
Nodarse.
Nodarse.
Yes.
Did I get it good?
You got it good.
Perfect. So, getting into typically what would be considered a man's business, a working man's business.
Yes, yes.
So let's talk about how that all started.
Actually, I started in the business right out of high school. Um, I started working with my dad back then, and after a few years, I realized that I was able to do it by myself, which I went on my own. But it's been hard.
Was that here in Miami?
Here in
Where'd
Miami.
you go to high
I
school?
start in HML.
HML. Where's?
HML, Hialeah Miami Lakes.
Oh my goodness! All right.
Hialeah, yeah, Trojans.
All right.
And it's even now people go into the business and they see and they automatically think that one of my salespeople that are men, they are the owners. They assume.
Do they
that
come
they're
over
the-
to you and say, "Could I speak to the owner?"
Yes, they have. They do it all the time. And actually, my brother works with me, and they assume that he's the owner. That I'm just there working, helping him out. So we're getting there. We're getting there.
And I've also been in those circumstances where, the back of my default brain, which is if it's a man and a woman near each other in a store, you would assume that the man is in charge.
Yes, yes.
And I remember when I did, I was so embarrassed.
And
I
that
had it wrong,
assumption is
right?
very wrong nowadays. I believe that we have come a long way. And for myself, I can speak for myself. I've been doing this for 33 years, own my own business for the last 20. We're doing very well, and it's just a woman's world for me.
So when you have clients that go to your website to sort of get a feel for what you have.
Yes, but we do a lot of word of mouth. We are very highly recommended. You can see our reviews. Uh, we are direct importers, so it goes direct from the factory to the customer, and we a lot of recommendations. People know us for many many years. So
And I think that's part of getting known is you do a good job for somebody and somebody says, "Hey, do you know so and so?" And then it's sort of top of mind when you go, "Yeah, I was there, or they did some work for me. Or I know somebody
yes,
did that." So if you've been successful for 30 years, you must have a lot of very happy customers.
I do. I do. I'm very repeat customers and families, and I've even sold tiles to people that now I'm selling tiles to their kids. And it's very, for me, is very fulfilling. I love what I do. I love the job. I like it. And people ask me, "When do you ever plan to retire?" No, I don't. I really, truly,
We're in the same club, baby. All right.
I truly love what I do. I enjoy when people go in there, and if my people can't help them, I try to be there as much as I can, and I don't mind picking up the phone for my customers. I don't mind being out there, and because it is. I mean, you find the satisfaction of not, first of all, not lying to them. I put a sticker on every single towel that we have from where the towel is from. I don't, we don't like, well, it's from Spain, and then you find out it's not from Spain. No, if it's from Spain, it's from Spain. If it's from wherever it is, the sticker is there, and it will tell you.
So what other type of floorings do you have besides tiles?
Well, we sell tiles. We do right now it's the vinyl, the waterproofing laminates. We do all the moldings.
So let's talk about the panel vinyl. Is that what it's called?
That's what people call it a lot of things. Most of the time, it's just waterproofing vinyl or
Right.
waterproofing laminate. It is.
And how long has that how long has it been really popularized?
I'm gonna say right now it's pretty much at its peak. It's taken the they used to be do laminate. Now is more vinyl because it is waterproof. So right now it's kind of at its peak. I think it's been for the past 2-3 years coming along, and I think that's probably going to stay a lot longer than laminate. Reason being because if, let's say that you have 2-story house and you don't have a concrete slab, you have a wooden slab. You don't need to do anything. There's no prep. There's nothing. You just go in, you install it, usually in a day, and you're done.
So there are lots of folks, they've added on to their house, they pour concrete maybe outside to where at some point before they put anything extra on it, part of the addition or maybe the other part starts to settle and it starts to crack.
Yes.
So what is it that U.S. Floors can do for people?
Well, first of all, when you do have a new slab, you want it a few days. You don't want to go ahead and install the tile right away. But sometimes the people do, and then you just want it within the next few days. If there's no cracks whatsoever, I always suggest keep a few extra boxes, because if it does happen in the future, the only thing you have to do is remove the tiles there is crack suppression that we use, and then that would avoid it. The other way to avoid those cracks, if you waterproof the concrete slab. If you waterproof it, even if it cracks, you usually will not crack your tile.
So folks, that if they look and they go, listen, we pull up the tile that had been there for 20 years, they pull up the tile and they realize there are these cracks.
We'll repair those cracks prior to installation, or that you should repair.
And so it's sort of filling it. Is there something that can be done for that so that it can slow down the sinking if it's from that, or this is just to fill it in that's going to last for?
No, that one, if you do repair the cracks correctly, that will last forever, and it shouldn't really crack anymore once it's done.
And on the vinyl panels, people using that outside?
I wouldn't recommend that for my daughter. Inside is fine. It's waterproof, but doesn't mean that it's going to take the rain and the sun and all that like in a daily basis.
So most people for outside put tile.
Yeah, outdoor tile. That's what we recommend.
That's right.
Yeah.
And not too rough so the kiddies don't rip up their little toes.
That too. Well, nowadays most of the outdoor tiles, really the feel is not that rough because with the new technology.
Yep.
But when it does get wet, then it becomes non-skid. But it's called R11. But it really doesn't have to be that rough that the kids won't have any issues if somebody falls.
Yeah, so you have multiple types of flooring that's there, and you said, did you say baseboard?
We carry all the moldings, baseboards, casings for the doors, outdoor tile, indoor tile, wall tile. We have also the slate, the rocks for the walls. If you want to do some type of accent walls, or even outdoors, just those rocks that you see. Outdoors.
Are there people do you do patios and pool areas?
We do too. And we are licensed and insured for installations, and we also offer financing available with approved credit. So right now we're 24 months no interest to help people out.
Good. So folks, you have word of mouth, and some people go to your website, they look around and they go, gee, I like that. And so they would go down to your place, or do you have somebody that goes out to see them? How does that work?
If they are only requiring the materials, then they have already their own installer that will bring in the measurements, and we have everything that you need for the installation, from the tile to the setting materials and everything in between. So they will come in with the measurements, and we'll sell them the tile. We deliver. We have our own trucks with the forklift and everything, so we deliver. If they don't have an installer and they wish for us to do it, then we'll go out there, take the measurements, let them know, then we'll give them an estimate, separate estimates for the materials and for the installation.
So you're near the Home Depot. What street is that?
We are 106. We're 19100 Southwest 106th Avenue. So we're before the Home Depot 106. We have huge signs in yellow.
And it's all a commercial warehouse.
It's all commercial warehouse. Well, right on US on 106.
When we look at how warehousing has sort of changed, in the sense before it'd be like just warehouses, now they're warehouse offices.
Yes, anything that's pretty much that has a street front.
Yep.
It's already an office, a showroom.
That's great. So you, in the beginning, you were in business with your dad.
Mm-hmm.
And how did that come about, you working for your father?
I was out of high school. It's summer job. I needed a summer job.
Highly Miami Lakes, folks.
Yeah, HML. And I needed a summer job. He was in the tile business. So he told me there was a friend of his that was in the business. He offered me the job. I did work there for the summer. And after the summer, I never went back. I stayed. And before I knew it, by the time I was already, 22 years old, I was pretty much managing the whole company.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Where did that drive come from?
I don't know. I guess it's in me. I like the selling. I like the business. I like to make people happy. It's you should see when people send me pictures and they call me, and it's like, I recommend it. I love your towel and the honesty. That's one thing that I've learned. You have to be very honest with customers. You can't just.
So Dee, when did you know that you had what it took?
I think 5 years in, at that time I figured out this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I never thought about doing after that. I never thought about doing anything else but that.
So when you were in high school, there's some
No, I wanted to
things.
be a teacher. Yeah, I wanted to be a teacher. I guess I the learning, the teaching, maybe it goes hand in hand in a way that you get to talk to people and you get to. But I wanted to be a teacher back then.
So let's talk about it. If somebody goes down there and he says, I need this stuff. You give them the dimensions. You walk them through. You're going to need this. Make sure the floor is right. Make sure it's level.
Yes.
You know, here's your tile. Here's your grout. Here's all this stuff. Remember, the wall's not straight and all that stuff that's going to happen there.
Yeah,
all those little surprises.
Especially now. Now it's getting, the tiles are getting bigger and bigger by the day, heavier and heavier. Most of them are rectified, which means that you have to you usually put them very close together. So now we having issues with the walls and the floors. The floors are not level. The walls are not straight. So that becomes a little bit of a problem for the installation purpose. But it can be done, and it's done beautifully.
So a guy goes in there, I don't know, he's 35 to 45. He says, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do those 3 bedrooms myself.
Well,
what's that conversation look like?
If he's talking about laminate or the waterproofing vinyl, yes, if he has patience and then he can do it. He can YouTube it and he'll be done. Now, tile is a whole different story, especially porcelain. That, if he's never done it in his life, no, I wouldn't recommend it.
So you have this tile, you put it on the floor and it's not even. And then when you put it up against the wall is also crooked. So you have both those things going on.
So you have to level the floor. Usually we use what it's called the mortar mix. With that, you kind of level the floor because you go in houses and then you may have half an inch on one end, and then halfway through the living room, then you might have an inch and a half. So you do that with the mortar mix. You kind of level as you go, and then you use the thin side just to kind of glue the tile on top.
When people frequently ask me when they say, "Well, Michael, I could do my own marketing," I said, "Yes, you could do that." I said, "By the way, do you have a house?" "Yes." "Does it ever need to be painted?" "Yes." I said, "Do you do it yourself?" "No." I said, "Why not?" Well, I said, you could go to Home Depot, wherever it is, your locally owned store, pick up the paint, do everything. So why do you hire a professional to do that? Because I want it done right. So you could do your own floor if you wanted to. You could do your own painting. But for us weekend warriors, we know exactly how it's going to come out.
Yes. Right? So if you want it done right, you let professionals do it, like US Floors can do it for you. It's just that the problem is that if you don't do it right, then it falls back on the material. And then I have found that too. There's people, even, so-called professionals that they're not licensed and insured, and then go out there and says, this tile is not good, it's bent, it's not.
So they go back and they blame the tile, whoever, where they got the material.
Where they got the materials, but it's a very easy fix. I will send one of my guys out there. If my guys can install it the right way and you're not satisfied, then I will refund you your money. But never happened.
That's wonderful, because people, they want to have a good job. And they want to, if they try it and they get in the middle of it, they say, "Oh, I can't do this, sweetheart."
But I always tell them, flooring is something that is not like a chair or a table that you can just replace the next day. I don't like it. Well, you know what? Just throw it out and bring a new one. Once it's down, and it's very expensive to remove it and get. So I tell them, if you're already going to go through the expense of buying this beautiful tile and doing all this, get the right people to also do the job.
And I was fortunate or unfortunate enough to have a jackhammer in our house for a couple of weeks, taking out all the tile years ago. So finally, my wife locked the gate. She said, no more. All right. So lots of times people say, I just want it done. I don't want to do it. Just take care of it. Yeah. And you have a lot of people that do that.
Yes, we do. Yeah, we have our own crew.
And as you're going along with the job, do you check in with them? Say, hey, listen, we're working on this. I want you to look at it, make sure.
Yes. Well, most of the owners, they do at least once a day. They will stop by, or they want to see what it's done. And we do talk to them, and it's not like we just going there and do and finish and okay, here it is. No, you want to go. Most of them, and it's happened so many times. They start doing maybe this part of the house, or they just want to do the floors, and then window doing the floors, and then the bathroom, and then the other bathroom, and it just goes on and on, because it's as you see the job, then it's kind of.
So we know the real estate market is really hot right now. We know that a lot of people have been spending some extra time at home, looking around the house, and where there's a lot of home improvement stuff that's going on.
There is a lot. I guess that people have been spending so much time at home.
Yes.
That now they're realizing that, hey, I need to make this better, or I didn't realize that this, before it was in and out, you go to work, then you go to happy hour, and you do this and that. Now it's like.
So when people say, I want to redo the floor, historically, let's say it's in their living room, what are some of the other things they wind up doing because they're putting in a new floor?
Oh, kitchens. They do kitchens, they do the baseboards. Most of the time, they need to do the baseboards, and then one thing leads to another. Then you have the bathrooms. Then you want to go into the bathroom with the towel, but then the towel you have on the walls is like, now you have this little tiny towel on the walls, and now it's like they're like huge tiles, so it's like it's not looking right. So then, and then of course, then from there you go painting and so
So
forth.
this little project could wind up with you're
It's
going to redo the wall, you're going to paint the walls, you might get some new furniture, all right, new baseboards, of course.
baseboards and kitchen and countertops and
And so when people go to your place, can they look at some of the jobs that you've done?
yes.
And if they go down there, they're going to see you.
Most likely, yes.
Right. And so obviously when we go out to try to buy something, all right,
Mhm.
that we want somebody that's comforting, that understands what we want, that doesn't immediately run them over and say, here, I got this, I got this. How does that work when somebody walks in the store?
Well, my reps are there. They take care of the customers. But if at any point they can, and most of the time I'm there. Maybe you don't see me. My office is in the back, but I can actually hear everything that goes on. And if they're not saying or they're not, like answering the question that the customer is feeling comfortable with, we usually would just go out there and let them know this is the way, And
So if somebody walks in and said, well, how much is tile? All right.
Mhm.
And so how
Well,
do you as a company,
we
uh,
I'm sorry to.
so-
Our towels have the price on them, and we have sales going on and all that. Most of the time, we still work with the customer to see, what kind of budget they have, and if we can get the towel that they want for that budget, then we most likely have something similar to that that can work within their budget.
and as far as pricing on the material, to go from historically, what if a tile is X dollars, what's the next step up? Is it usually just a little bit, or is it 10% more, 25% more, or is it all the whole range?
Is the whole range. It's we actually there are porcelain tiles 24 by 24s that we sell a lot less expensive than when I started in the business 33 years ago for a 13 by 13 ceramic tile.
So other than a look for a customer, what else are they looking for?
I'm saying the looks, they want the price, they want to make sure there's the quality and the customer service. You need to have people when they walk into the showroom, and we're open 7 days a week. And I tell people, we're here to help you. My We know I mean, we've been in the business for so long. We're not gonna just sell you a tile just because we want to sell you that tile because of the price or because if it's more expensive. First of all, our prices are very, very competitive with the big name stores like Home Depot or For One Decor and all those. But not just that, we just not going to sell you something just because I do the purchasing myself, so I know exactly what I'm buying, and I do not buy anything on purpose that would be first quality tile. So it's like we want to sell you what you want for the best price possible.
I had the occasion to buy a large TV a couple of years ago, and I didn't know too much about them. So I buy one, and about 4 months later, it went bad. So I go back to this, or maybe it's a little bit longer. They said, well, that's just the way it is. I said, what do you mean? They said, well, that's the worst of them. I said, then you shouldn't be selling them. I said, what are you doing? You should have told me. All right. All they were worried about was making that sale.
Just making and
Right.
that's wrong. It's like I said, we don't manufacture towels, so I can. And of course, with containers come in, pallets come in. You may have something going on with one pallet, and of course, until you open it, you can't tell until the actual is being
Yeah.
installed. But that doesn't happen. I'm going to say often. That hardly ever happens. So, it's like you tell the customer what they need. The if you sell them the right stuff to install it, the right installer to install the tile, it shouldn't be an issue. And if they go back, we will try to come up with a solution.
Lots of folks are concerned. Gee, if I have this tile and I break a tile, let's say you drop something on it, what is it you should do in advance so they won't in the middle of their living room?
I always tell my customers, keep extra towels. Towels don't go bad. It doesn't matter where you put them. They don't really go bad. So you can put them underneath the bed, hidden in a closet, anywhere. always keep extra towels because anything could happen. Not just that maybe something heavy falls on you, break a towel, but you know what? If for whatever reason you have a leak and you have to in the kitchen and you have to remove a few towels. Not just that. A few years ago, I replaced my front door, and when they replaced the front door, they broke two of my tiles, and the guys were like, "Oh my god, what happened?" Of course, I had extra tiles, so for me, it wasn't any big deal. Remove those two broken pieces, put the new ones on, it's done. But what happens if you don't have them and there's no more towel?
Yes.
Then you have a problem.
Yes.
So just keep extra towels. If you ever sell the house, the new owner will be more than happy to if you tell them, listen, there's two extra boxes of towel there. If anything happens, if you remove the kitchen cabinets, happens a lot. The towel is you like the towel, but you're gonna redo the cabinets.
So the first time I saw somebody redo their flooring in the bedroom, it was a house that we purchased. There were these 2 feet from the end of the carpet, or maybe it was tile, to the wall, because the person, when they refloored it, they didn't take out that other stuff that was there. Is that common?
No, you should. You should remove everything. Just like the baseboards. Sometimes people go in there and says, "Oh my God, but the baseboards are pretty new. Can we just leave them and put the towel and then you put no." If you want to do it right, you remove the baseboards, you do the towel as close to the walls as possible, then you put the baseboard on top, and then.
So certainly, what we when we walk into a home or a business, we certainly look at all those things, and what happens to a lot of us that we after we've been doing that place for years, you don't see it anymore, and then all of a sudden one day you go, oh, look at that. So do you have videos available for people where they can see how it gets installed?
We have videos and we have a lot of pictures, and if we, like I said, if they decide to go with us, that we will have a professional actually go out there and explain everything, and because we need to see it. I mean, sometimes there's things that they don't realize they have. Sometimes they have like flooring in the living area, but then they have carpet in the bedrooms, and then once you remove that, then you're going to have a difference in height. So you have to explain to them what we need to do if they don't want to have everything to just flow and have the same level.
There have been times over the years where people have come and put in carpet or tiles, and then of course the doors don't fit, and that is really distressing. Instead of them saying up front, by the way, when we do this,
well, most of the times doors will have to be removed, and most of the time they will have to be cut.
Yes.
And then we do that too, of course.
And I think when people know that in advance, they're good. But
if you that's exactly what I'm saying. You just be honest with the customer up front. I mean, you tell them, and most of them we do have it in writing. Like porcelain, you have to level the floor. So it's the floor that was probably half an inch now becomes an inch and a half. So of course the doors are not going to close. You have to remove them, do them right, and then you put them.
So we see those big tiles about this big. It's sort of awkward to move those around, isn't it?
Yes, they're very, very heavy. We have tiles that just one tile, it's a good 90 pounds.
So and it covers a big area. So when the floor is not straight, the whole tile's not straight.
The whole tile.
Because
that's why you have to have the right installer do it. That's why you have to level the floor, so that way when those big tiles settle, everything will be the same level.
It's really intriguing to see how you put together a house, starting with all the aspects of everything that's there. And I do want to share. A fellow owed me a bunch of money in cabinet business, Michael. I said, okay, make me a cabinet. He says, well, the first question is, how big is the TV? Well, to tell you how long ago it was $2,600. All right, that's how long ago it was. That was a 40-inch. I said, okay, yeah, that's fine. And I go to my wife, well, I think that we have to the wallpaper. We got to do something with the wallpaper. So all the wallpaper came off, and then we had to fill that in. Now all of a sudden the floor, right? So we pulled up the carpet. By the time we got done, everything had been replaced, including the furniture.
That's exactly what
and
happens.
That's what happens, because you want to be able to everything be in sync there.
It's just that when you replace something old with something new, then whatever was next to it now looks even older than what it was before, because now it's like, well, this nice huge towel, it's on my floor now, but then when I look at my kitchen cabinet, it's like, oh my God, this is like So then, yeah, one thing leads to another.
So somewhere when you were growing up, you gained a lot of confidence that you could do the things that you wanted to do.
Yes.
Tell us about that when you sort of saw that happening.
It's, I guess, throughout the years. I don't even know exactly when it happened, but I am very confident. Like I said, I like what I do. It's just, again, if you service a customer, if you're honest and you have nothing to hide, you tell them then you're so happy when people come back to you and say, listen, look how beautiful. I get compliments every time somebody comes in the house, and they just, just like everything they have.
So you were in high school, you wanted to become a teacher.
Yes.
Then you said, I'm going to go work part-time for my dad. All right. At that moment, when you said, I will go do that, was it a cataclysmic change? Did you know something was going to happen?
I think so. I think so because, like I said, I was just fresh out of high school, and it just, I think I stayed in the showroom, like actually learning the towel business probably for about a year. And then from there, I went to the office. And from the office, I went to managing the whole company. So it was fast, and I liked it. I learned it very and quickly, and I was very comfortable.
There's a point of, if you're lucky in life, you become self-actualized where you go, bingo. It's like getting the light bulb goes off. Did you experience that?
I want to say probably I did. I did. And that's why I kept on going.
And
That's
when
right.
was that?
Very early, a long time ago, very early, as soon as I got out of high school, I guess, when I started working with him.
My suspicion it was there long before that. That's just when
It, it could have been now that I'm saying this, that the reason why I wanted to be a teacher, but if you teach something, you're teaching people what you know, and I guess that's exactly what I do. I teach people. If you don't know, I have I have so many customers that have come in there and they have no idea of what they want. They have no idea what color they want. They have nothing. And half an hour later, we have the whole house already chosen, the towel, the bathrooms, towel, everything. And I never knew it could be this easy.
And I think that's what people want. They have a challenge. They want a problem. They want a solution. They don't want to know how the engine works. I want a car. I want whatever it happens to be that works. And in today's online experience, people, when they go shopping, they want somebody to take care of it, or else they would order it somewhere else. All right.
No, we are very personalized. That's one of the things that I love to do, that when they come in there and then they just have no idea. And I ask them, because sometimes people come in there, well, I want a white tile, just white. And still I tell them, we have the white, we have this, and we have that. Make sure you want a white. It gets very dirty very quickly. So if they're okay with that, then we'll go. If not, then sometimes just try to tell people, well, but what color furniture you have? Oh, I want to change the furniture. Well, what kind of furniture you have in mind? You want to go like really modern looking? You want it more contemporary? What type?
So it's the whole thing when you look at that whole package of stuff.
Yes. And I like, some people say, no, I like this, but then let's say do you like gray? No, I don't like gray. We don't look at gray towels, because if you don't like gray, we're not even going to look at gray towels. And
so you bring up really good point. Sometimes we get directed by the things that we don't want, and you say, and we know when we work with people, well, what colors would you like? I'm not sure. Well, do you want this color? So then it gets down to a half a dozen.
And sometimes, and I do that. Sometimes I put on the floor, let's say 6 different tiles, and they say, oh my God, I'm not sure which one I like. I said, well, let me ask you something. Which one you don't like?
Perfect.
And then you remove the one you don't like, and then you only have 5. Well, which one is the one that you like the least? And then in no time, you're down to maybe 2 tiles, and then it becomes a lot easier. And then if they're not sure about that, then we go into the bathrooms, and then you say, well, what would you want in your bathrooms? Well, I just want my all white bathrooms. And we'll get a white towel here and white towel there and see which one looks best. And then it just becomes very easy one from there.
So third generation businesses and families are really, it's tough. It rarely happens, very small percentage. Most don't make it through the second generation. So you have second generation family, and we're in the second generation. The third's not interested at all. How old are your children?
I have my oldest, which actually she works with me. She's 33. I have my son, that's 27. He's in the real estate business. And then I have my Gator graduate that she's 23. And she's holding her job. And so far,
Good for her.
Yeah.
And good for you. So you have a daughter. She's how old? 33?
33.
33. She works with you.
She works for me.
So when you look at her in that environment that's there, do you go, it was like me?
Yeah, well, I wasn't even. She wasn't even in the when I started in the business.
So how does it feel when you're there and you see one of your children?
It feels great. It feels great. I have my oldest. I also have my brother working with me. He's my everything there too, and it feels great. It feels great. It feels great when you see that you have your your family operated company, and that so many families benefit from it too, and then you have your kids, and it's really is a really good feeling.
That's great. And you live down in the South End?
Yes, I do. Yes, we are. Ever since I've been in the South, and that's where we do most of our business, and I try to keep it there too.
Years ago, I was at a party, and it was either Saturday or Sunday when my molar was killing me. And one of the guys here was a dentist. And I said, Doc, he says, come on, let's go. And he opened one on the weekend, opened up the office. And I still remember that was Hurricane Andrew time. And I still remember that moment where he said, let's go. Because I never thought somebody would do that, right? And I wasn't asking him, but he realized I was having this pain. So when people call you and they go visit you and they have some in-laws that are coming in a couple of weeks, they want to get it done, you hear that story often, I think.
Yes.
Yes, and you
Yes.
take care of them.
Oh, yes, of course.
Right.
Yes, of course.
So congratulations on your family business. It's nice to see when you have people there and your children there.
Yes.
And it's real accolades to you on recognizing when what it would be like. Now, there's probably some young lady that's watching us right now and looking at you, all right, and wondering, so how does she do that? So what I'd like you to do in a moment, we're going to look over that camera right over there, and you're going to talk to some 15 to 20-year-old young lady or young man, all right,
yes.
that's looking to the future. So why don't you say some things to her?
Well, my first, and the same thing that I advise to my kids, it's hard. You have to work hard. Don't be scared. There's a lot of sacrifices. At one point, I worked 7 days a week for 6 months straight with 3 little kids. And I would take my playpen, they would be there playing, and I would be selling tiles. And I did that for 6 months, 7 days a week. So I stopped working 6 days a week only 6 months ago. So it's hard, but never give up. If you really want it, you can have it. There's no such a thing. No, well, it doesn't happen overnight. And that's the one thing I tell my kids. Don't expect to work hard for a year and then all of a sudden you have this, growing business and all that. It takes time. It takes patience. But don't give up. If you really want it, it's a lot of hard work and it can be done.
Dee from US Force, thank you so much for being here. You're a true inspiration, not just to women, but to people everywhere.
Thank you.
And Happy New Year to you. And again,
Happy to you.
Thanks for joining us. Tommy is our producer over here. Thank you, Tommy, for everything you do with us. Again, this is Live with Miami's Community News. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.